Back again, and this time is fantasy focus for game week 24. We're looking at the players most likely to deliver in front of goal, the big transfers people are weighing up, where the clean sheets are likely to come from, and finally, of course, who should be your captain this week. Let's get into it. Alright, so we're starting off with goal involvement potential. Top of the list, as always, is none other than Erling Haaland. He was benched last game week for Marmoush, who did go on and score, but now that Haaland's been rested, I fully expect him to be back in the lineup. On Haaland, he does just have one goal in 6 games. Potentially, this could be a week where we start to look at different captaincy options. We do have a couple, but there'll be more on that later. City face Spurs away, and Haaland does have a 69% chance of scoring or assisting, and is expected 34 points over the next 5 game weeks. So Fantasy Football Hub fully expect him to get some points soon, and it could be Spurs away that he does that. The most featured team this week is United. To be honest, that's no surprise given how well they've done over the last 2 game weeks. They now face Fulham at home, but more surprisingly, the bookies actually have Cunha to score or assist over Mbeumo and Fernandes. Cunha is 66%, whilst Fernandes is 60% and Mbeumo is 58%. I guess that's because he's had such an effect when he's come off the bench for United over the last 2 games. He came on against City, I believe he got 2 assists, and then obviously we know that he came on against Arsenal and got that really good goal, putting it past Raya from distance. In terms of returns per minute, being on the pitch, yeah, obviously Cunha's right up there over those last 2 game weeks, so maybe that's what they're looking at, given the fact that we now know that Dorgu is injured. So I suppose Carrick will play Cunha on the left now that Dorgu's injured, with Mbeumo up top and then Ahmed on the right. So yeah, you can expect him to start, most likely. And yeah, that's why it's 66%. And Fantasy Football Hub have Cunha scoring 25.8 points over the next 5 game weeks. You're unlikely to see Sesko start, so he's not worth considering this game week despite his 58% chance of scoring or assisting. Another player high on the list is Ekitike, despite his benching in game week 23 against Bournemouth. They face Newcastle at Anfield, which is a tough game considering how Liverpool is struggling, but given Slot has come out and actually said that with Isak out, they can't really take chances with Ekitike playing too many games. So that was definitely just a bench in because he was resting him and it's precautionary. So I would fully expect him to start in game week 24. Then we should mention Esteval. He's on the list, 55% chance of scoring, only 6.4 million. Seems to be having an effect on the game whenever he plays. However, the only problem is we can't be certain of his minutes going forward. If we could, 6.4 million would be an absolute bargain for a dynamic attacking right winger who is constantly getting in dangerous areas for Chelsea. Unfortunately, his minutes aren't confirmed yet. He did play well against Palace. Hopefully that continues for him, so we get another option in midfield. But again, Fantasy Football Hub don't expect him to get too many minutes over the next 5. They believe he'll get 11.2 points over the next 5 game weeks. So not one to consider right now, but definitely somebody who's on my watch list. I'll be monitoring his minutes going forward. All right, moving on to transfers in for game week 24. And top of the list is not really a surprise to me. Bruno Fernandes, over 540,000 managers have transferred him in this game week. He's managed to return in each of his last 3 game weeks, 7 points against Burnley, 10 points against Man City, and then 5 points against Arsenal where he grabbed an assist for that Dorgu finish. So yeah, unsurprising to see him at top of the list. Man United have great fixtures going ahead with Fulham at home, Tottenham at home, West Ham away, Everton away and Crystal Palace at home in the next 5 game weeks. So definitely great fixtures to target for a player who is going to play full 90 minutes, is on set pieces, takes with the penalties, and can get you defensive contributions as well. The next on the list is Mbeumo, another great option. 453,000 managers have brought him in this game week. I'm undecided whether I'm going to do it. I really want to do it, but I'm not sure it's the right thing to do considering the player that I'm going to transfer out is Semenyo. He's fit, he's available, he's most likely going to start for City this game week. So do I really need to waste a transfer on a fit available player, transfer him out to get a fit and available player in like Mbeumo? I have other areas like defence where I really need to sort out with the fact that Goodmanson's out and Keane is back from suspension, but Braithwaite has now returned. He came on and played against Leeds on Monday evening. So that's really going to have an effect on Keane's minutes. So I've basically got no one on my bench right now who can play. So really want to bring Mbeumo in, but have to play it safe and potentially use a transfer elsewhere. Next up is João Pedro. He's been brought in by 366,000 managers. I understand this one. He's got 20 points over the last 2 game weeks. He got a goal and assist against Palace and then a goal against Brentford at home in game week 22. And the fixtures are great. West Ham at home, Wolves away, Leeds at home and Burnley at home in the next 4 game weeks. So great fixtures to target, but can we guarantee he's going to play all those games? I'm not so sure. I mean, they've got Rory Delap on the bench who can play some of those games. They've got a lot of fixtures coming up. They've got Arsenal in the Cup to play that second leg away at the Emirates, and they've got the Champions League as well. So is João Pedro, who is probably Liam Rosenior's first choice striker, is he going to play all those games? I can't be so sure. For me, I understand it, why he's being brought in. He's done really well over the last 2 game weeks and he's heading into some great fixtures, but can you guarantee that he's going to play all those minutes? I'm not so sure. So for me, that's why I brought in Enzo, and 294,000 managers have done the same. He's more likely to play most of those minutes. He seems to be a player who just plays every minute. Played 90 minutes against Palace, 84 against Brentford at home, was taken off on the 64th minute against Fulham, but before that, against Man City, Bournemouth, Aston Villa, he played all the 90 minutes. So yeah, somebody who plays mostly 90 minutes for Chelsea, and I would fully expect him to play more minutes than João Pedro over the next 4 game week. Next up is Dorgu. Over 249,000 managers brought him in, and unfortunately he is now out for 10 weeks after that hamstring injury. Really unfortunate for him and the managers brought him in. He was such a bargain at 4.4 million. If you got him in at like 4 million, well, what a return he gave you. But yeah, now he's out for 10 weeks and he's going to have to be transferred out. Alright, so let's talk about transfers out for game week 24, and over 550,000 managers have transferred out Foden. This one makes complete sense. He was benched against Wolves. He hasn't returned in 7 game weeks. The last time he returned was against Palace in that 3-0 win away from home in game week 16. I don't even think he's returned in Europe either, so he's on a real drought. He's been benched and we're not sure on his minutes anymore, so he's a definite sell. Next on the list is Bruno Guimaraes. He's been transferred out by over 357,000 managers, likely because of the news that he was injured. However, it has been announced on Sky Sports that Bruno faces a late fitness test to see if he can face Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League this week. So there could be a chance that he does make game week 24 away to Liverpool. So if you do still have him, potentially hold for now. Let's wait and see if he plays against Paris Saint-Germain. And if he doesn't play in that game, you can then wait for the press conference that Eddie Howe will give on the Thursday or Friday to see if he mentions whether Bruno's fit enough to play in game week 24. Next up is Ekitike. Over 216,000 managers have transferred him out. I did it last week. I can see why people are doing it this week. So yeah, I understand why people are moving him on. He hasn't returned since Wolves at home in game week 18, which was only an assist anyway. Since then, he's been pretty disappointing. Didn't return against Leeds at home, was injured in game week 20 and 21, and then did not return at home to Burnley, and then was benched in 23. So really frustrating pick if you held him for that period. But there is a chance he plays in game week 24. If you've got other areas that you need to make changes in, because potentially you could then hold Ekitike because he's most likely to start against Newcastle. Then surprisingly, as you can see, you've got Thiago and Haaland. So you've got Haaland, Thiago and Ekitike, probably the 3 best forwards in the game, all being transferred out by a number of managers for probably multiple different reasons. Ekitike has been frustrating because of lack of game time he's got, and when he has played, he hasn't returned. Thiago, he has returned for a lot of managers, not me, but a lot of managers. But he does have some difficult fixtures coming up. Aston Villa away, Newcastle away, then Arsenal at home in the next 3 game weeks. So I can understand why he's being moved on. Personally, for me, I'm keeping him through this. Just going to ride it out until the fixtures get better. Haaland, I don't really understand. I mean, he's going to eventually score, and he probably will hit a purple patch where he scores multiple goals. That's just what Haaland does. He's got the track record of doing that. All right, moving on to clean sheets, and Arsenal top the list with 42% chance as they play Leeds at Ellen Road. Arsenal have a 0.8 expected goals conceded away from home, whilst Leeds record 1.75 expected goals per 90 at home. So be interesting to see how this one plays out. Of course, I've got 2 Arsenal defenders, Raya and Gabriel, in my team, so I'm hoping for a clean sheet. But Leeds playing at home is a really tough fixture for any team. It'll be interesting to see how Arsenal fare after their 3-2 loss to United. Next up is Sunderland, and they don't usually make this list, but they do face Burnley at home at the Stadium of Light. 40% chance of keeping a clean sheet. Burnley register less than a goal a game away from home, so this is where you play your Mukiels, Ballards and Alderetes, and you can fully expect a clean sheet in this one. You might not get one, but you can at least expect to get something from your Sunderland defenders. And Chelsea begin their great run of fixtures with a home tie to West Ham, who have actually picked up in form of late, but this will be a completely different test for West Ham going away to Stamford Bridge. West Ham have an expected goals of just over 1 goal per game, so if they're going to score, it's the most it's going to be is most likely 1. Chelsea are strong defensively, so it's definitely a fixture to target if you have any Chelsea defenders. And finally, let's talk about the captaincies for game week 24. As always, Haaland tops the captaincy rankings this week with a predicted points of 6.6. Bruno is next with 6.5 points predicted this game week. Going against Haaland actually seems like a decent option this week, with Fernandes at home to Fulham. However, as we know, Haaland was rested and he does face a Spurs side who are struggling under Thomas Frank. So it would be a risk to go against Haaland, but the upside of captaining a midfielder would be there. But for me, I'm not really sure if I can risk that move. Ballard is up there with expected 6.4 points. He's got a home tie to Burnley, so the obvious route to points would be a clean sheet, maybe some DEFCON, and potentially bonus points if he gets all those. So you're looking at 20 plus points if you captain him. Would anyone be tempted by that? And that wraps up your fantasy focus for game week 24. Goal threats, clean sheets, and captaincies all covered. If this helped, drop a like. It generally supports the channel. And if you're new around here, subscribe for next week's breakdown. I've also got team selections coming up in a couple of days. Let me know your team's shaping up in the comments. I'd love to hear what you're planning. Good luck this week, green arrows, and enjoy the football.